I don't want to drink whiskey right now.
Good evening, Movie Talk by Movie fans. This is Jonathan Youngblood, your host for tonight, and we are here with a slightly smaller panel than usual, actually exactly half the size as usual. So we will have to be extra entertaining tonight. So on my far left, I have my partner in crime, my associate editor over at Geeks and Gamers, and the person who's usually on this show, Mr. Ryan McKenna.
What's up, guys? We're talking some bad stuff today, but it's going to be fun.
Yes, this is the show that I wasn't sure going into it like a week ago if this would be a happy show or a sad show, but this is going to be a fun show. Mr. Ty Rothermal, you're in the middle. What's up, man?
Hi, I'm so excited to talk about this movie that I really don't remember much about, even though I only saw it a few days ago.
It's funny. I've been sitting here thinking about King Arthur and why I didn't like it. Spoiler alert, all three of us didn't really like it. And it's really hard. It's really hard to think about our problems we had with it. So this discussion is going to be as spoiler-free as possible because the reason we have such a small panel today is because a lot of the people on our panel haven't seen the movie yet. So we will, we can talk about some specifics, but we'll try to be a little bit, we're going to be courteous to everyone. So Ryan, let's start with you. What did you think overall of King Arthur, Legend of the Sword?
Okay, so I saw King Arthur, Legend of the Sword like a couple weeks ago at that like special King for a Day screening, and it was awful. And I was confused.
Can we agree that King for a Day is a really, really, really lame name for a screening?
It is. And I had wondered why they did it with this movie, because it was so bad. Nothing worked, really. There's a couple moments that were okay. Charlie Hunnam was fine. His gang of misfits were fine. But like the movie they were in was so bad and so mismanaged and so tonally inconsistent, and had some of the worst action and CGI I've seen in a movie in a long time. And I don't even like what I don't know what Jude Law was doing in this movie. I don't know what Guy Ritchie was trying to make. I'm really confused. So that's my take on it.
So question, do you still have the hat from your screening, or has that been burned?
I do. Do you want me to pull it out?
As Ryan finds the hat, Ty, what did you think of King Arthur?
Well, it's funny that Ryan mentioned that the CGI was so bad. That's bizarre to me because this movie cost $175 million to make. And it made like $14 million this weekend, which is insane. But past the terrible CGI in action, it was really boring. I was checking my watch a lot, which I almost never do, even at bad movies. And the acting was so bizarre, especially Merlin's henchman girl that they sent. She every time she spoke, she annoyed the hell out of me. Like the way people talk about Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman when they don't like her, which I think she's fine, but I think everything that they're saying about Gal Gadot actually applies to this character and this actress. Like, she is just god awful, and Charlie Hunnam was terrible. His band of misfits was awful, although I didn't entirely hate the guy with the bow and arrow who's like, oh, what? We're not supposed to shoot the arrow? I'm going to shoot it anyways, because why not? And
the Lord Baelish, right? The Game of Thrones guy.
I don't watch Game of Thrones, but
Littlefinger.
Yeah.
For the
the entire movie, I was referring to him as Littlefinger because I still don't know his name. Like, I legitimately don't know who any of the people in the little band of misfits was supposed to be within the Arthurian legend because King Arthur. So I walked into King Arthur right after seeing Absolutely Anything, a comedy starring Robin Williams that I might talk about a little bit later, which was a pleasant surprise. But in this week, I have watched, including Arthur, 3 movies that are in my bottom 10 for the year. So I didn't think I could possibly hate Arthur that much. I figured that it would be a pleasant surprise because I'd watched so much bad that this one obviously would be good. I sat down in my seat in Real 3D, which I thought was going to help, and watched one of the most convoluted, ridiculously weirdly edited movies I have ever seen. I don't know what the hell was going on. I don't know who signed off on all those choices. All of the weird Guy Ritchie-isms, I guess what they were, where they did all the weird cuts and the weird, I said the weird Ant-Man style storytelling that pissed me off to no end. Nothing worked. It felt like I was watching a bunch of God of War like cutscenes thrown together amidst a really, really, really like low budget. Even though the budget was high, like
Too high.
Astronomically high.
I don't understand how this movie cost 175 mil, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you said the editing was awful. And as you guys know, my biggest problem with my previous least favorite movie of the year was King Kong, and I thought the editing was just awful in that. It bothered me to no end. Here, I was just sitting there like, why would they cut it like that? Why are they doing that? None of this is cohesive at all. Like, this is bizarre, and that's been a trend with Warner Brothers for a few of their movies lately, in my opinion. And I really hope that stops with this movie, and moving forward, the rest of their movies actually at least make sense. Because this one, I just kept going back, like, who's that? Why is that relevant? Why are we doing this? Like, what does it mean? It's just a mess.
Yeah, this movie is very fortunate that it came out in the year that we got A Dog's Purpose and The Dinner, because without those movies, it would be dead in dead last right now for me, because it just I'm still really confused.
It's really sad to me that I walked out of the theater and my only thoughts going through my head was, did I hate Snatched or King Arthur more? Which is not a comparison I ever thought I was going to make, because as much as I didn't love the trailers, I kind of expected to 3-star this one and, go, I don't love it, but I respect it kind of thing. Sort of like how I felt about Sherlock Holmes and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and other Guy Ritchie stuff. But this one, this is bad. This is really, really bad. What good elements were there in King Arthur? Because there were some good elements in King Arthur.
I thought that I bought into Charlie Hunnam to some degree. I thought that he sort of presented this Arthurian face well, and I thought that, I believed I could follow him if he were in a better movie. I feel like I would be like, okay, I can get behind this dude. And I also thought I liked how it I didn't like the beginning of the movie, but I like how it set up to go into his childhood living in the brothel. I know a lot of people are commenting on how much they love that Guy Ritchie sequence, where he's growing up in fast forward. I don't like that sequence personally, because I think that everything interesting gets skipped in that sequence, but that's just me. I did like how it sort of led into that story, though. And then I didn't like really anything else.
Okay. Random interjection. One of my biggest pet peeves in movies is when there is text on screen that you can basically figure out by context. So I really hate showing where the location is. Whenever something like that pops up, I cringe a little bit. And I really hate opening text. I can usually accept it. I can usually get behind it and say, okay, I understand why this is here. This was some of the worst opening text I've ever seen, because it was just illegible.
Yeah.
Like I said, I watched it on a pretty nice screen in 3D. I was sitting there and I couldn't read what was on the screen. I had to lean over and go to my friend and go, what are we watching? What does this say? I couldn't figure it out. I cannot imagine what this is going to look like when it comes to home video and when it comes to VOD. I'm just waiting to I'm going to start watching it on my phone with the digital copy if I were to buy it, which I'm not going to buy this movie. This is ridiculous. It's so ridiculously bad. But I was trying to get positive. So positives on King Arthur.
Well, maybe the opening wording would actually help make this movie better, make more sense. Things that I liked, I didn't mind Eric Bana. I dug him a bit. The brothel bit where he was growing up, I didn't mind, but what you brought up made me go, yeah, maybe I don't like that. But I thought, no, it's all right seeing him as a boy punching some people, getting some money by by punching a person, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. And then there was a like kung fu guy named George, and
Kung Fu George.
I just yeah, that's about it. And I liked Arrow Guy, so that's
You know, it did look really nice sometimes. Like that opening battle sequence, I could kind of get behind. I was like, this discount Lord of the Rings Helm's Deep scene
Why are
is
there elephants?
yeah, why are there elephants?
because they look really cool.
Just give dinosaurs. They look much cooler. Like, oh my god, why elephants?
Yeah.
They're so out of place. They don't
mind
belong
control
there.
elephants too. Like legitimately, like break the curse and set the elephants free. Elephants. No,
There's
it was
also like another thing. Why is there so much weird like phallic imagery in this movie? Like, actual question that I like need to present to the crew here, because the basic plot of this is, can Arthur's sword defeat Vortigern's tower? Why?
This is why live television is so great.
Sorry, it's just like
It's very true. It's very true, and it's not exactly subtle throughout the movie. Freud would have a field day with this movie.
would he ever?
Even down to because what I noticed on that was just the scripting of it was really really bad for that. Like it was it was so awkwardly written, and it was so just ripe for lowbrow, low-hanging fruit jokes. I felt like any editor worth their salt would have been able to pick up on, but they just went for it.
Yeah.
How?
Okay, two things. One positive I'll give this movie is that from what I remember, it didn't have the female love interest that was super cliched, where she's like, "I don't like you," and then eventually by the end they're in love. I don't think that was in the movie, but honestly, I can't remember. And secondly, can you guys explain what the purpose of like that whole cave thing was again, where he's like, go into the forest, and then he goes into the cave, and then there's giant bats, and he's all like, my dead mom again, that thing that's actually my uncle, but I don't know he's my uncle yet, and yada yada yada.
I think it was a training montage. It kind of felt like a training montage. I turned in that moment to read, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I was like, did I miss something?
Yeah, I don't know. That was weird. So our fellow council member who's on sometimes, Manning Franks, has a good question for us. This movie's a train wreck. We all kind of agree to that. Mm-hmm. But is it a train wreck that's worth the price of admission to go see?
Sorry, what was the question?
I said, is it a train wreck that is worth the price of a ticket to go see?
No.
How much is the price of a ticket? If someone goes to see this, I would say they need to see it in 3D, because there were some really cool 3D images in this movie. There were some moments where things jumped out of the screen at you and it looked kind of cool. I'll give it that. Go on, if you have Cheap Ticket Tuesdays, go on Cheap Ticket Tuesday, see it in 3D, go in with very low expectations, maybe bring some people with, get popcorn. Actually, now it's turning into a $25 trip, and that's not worth it anymore.
Here's what you have a couple shots of whiskey. You get someone to drive you down there. You take a taxi or whatever you do. You go down to the cheapest, most run-down, disgusting theater in your town. You steal a bucket of popcorn because you know they're not even going to notice. You go in there. You pull out your flask, pour it on the popcorn as if it's butter. Drink the rest of the whiskey, eat some of the popcorn, toss it at the screen whenever something stupid happens, and then walk out halfway through and just sleep on a park bench. Wake up the next day, you'll feel great.
You'll arguably feel as good as we did walking out of it.
Yep, 100%.
See, Ryan didn't have to pay for his, so...
Neither did I.
I did have to wait in a 2-hour-long line. So.
Oh, did you see yours early too?
Yeah, I got it. I saw it on Wednesday. I didn't get a review for early for Geeks Gamers because one, I had to work early in the morning, and I couldn't be fucked to write a review for this thing. I just,
true.
it was like, oh.
I started to write it when I saw it 2 weeks ago, and then I was like, there's nothing I can say. This movie is so bad. Like, what even do you want me to say? And then I saw some people talking about it positively, and I was like, no, this cannot stand.
You know what? I'm surprised you remember as much as you do, considering you saw it 2 weeks ago. I can barely remember it, and I saw it like 4 days ago. Like, my God, it's so abysmally forgettable. It's pathetic.
So what do we think about Guy Ritchie moving forward? Because he's slated to direct Aladdin. And I have now seen enough Guy Ritchie to know that it's basically Guy Ritchie. Like, this is his style. Are we nervous? Are we nervous?
Yes. Not because I'm like a huge Aladdin fan. I think it's a good movie. I just don't have much nostalgia for it. But I do want it to be a good movie, and so I'd rather Guy Ritchie not direct it. I think he just did whatever he did with Sherlock Holmes, tried to apply it to this, and it didn't work whatsoever. And I don't want to see that with Aladdin, because at least that's a property I enjoy. And I don't want to see the genie explaining something and then all of those things happening on screen. And it's kind of just a bit of a headache. I don't need that. Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I'm both nervous and not at the same time. I hate his Sherlock Holmes movies. I know a lot of people like them. They're not for me. I dig the character Sherlock Holmes. I just don't like what he and Robert Downey Jr. did in those. I did like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. a lot. I think the reason I'm like not as worried is because if I look back at these Disney live action remakes that they've been doing recently, like, I mean, maybe they've just been hiring directors without very distinct styles, other than Tim Burton, which is the outlier of the bunch. But if you look at, Jon Favreau's Jungle Book, David Lowery's Pete's Dragon, Bill Condon's Beauty and the Beast, like they all, and Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella, they all kind of look and fall within like a very similar directorial style. So I would be surprised if Aladdin really strays from that. And I think that the producerial end of this is what could kind of keep it in check.
I would think that it would fall in the same camp as Tim Burton, though, because he's a big name, and the studio's gonna trust him like they did with Tim Burton. I think it's gonna fall along those lines. But hopefully, your scenario is what ends up happening, because I would much prefer that.
Mm-hmm. But now I guess it's very true. He's got name recognition. But I think that now, especially going in off of this, because it made $14 million on opening weekend.
43 worldwide, baby. 4,000 screens. So
will this be the biggest bomb of the summer?
Yes.
We still have to see what Valerian is going to do.
What I was going to say, that is the one thing that we still don't know about.
Which I got I saw a featurette today because I went and saw The Fifth Element in theaters earlier. And, everyone looks like they're having a lot of fun. So maybe it'll be okay.
I'm actually really excited for Valerian. Like, I'm really, really excited for Valerian. I think it's going to be, at least it's going to be fun to watch.
I still don't think people are going to go see it.
No.
Against Dunkirk, like if someone the audience that would see Valerian opening weekend and the audience that would see a Christopher Nolan movie opening weekend, it's not a perfect circle for the Venn diagram, but it is damn close. So it's not gonna make money because Dunkirk is gonna take all of it.
Yeah.
And how big of the budget was Valerian? It's
like a $200 million movie.
Yeah.
What? Why? Why?
Because Luc Besson is an idiot.
But who would give him the money for this comic book property that no one knows, that's from the 60s? Like, I don't. Wow.
Well, it's his own company. It's Europa Corp.
Yeah.
Which
he funded it himself off of all of the money he's made from the other Europa Corp smash hits.
Even Power Rangers had the foresight not to spend that much money on their movie.
It was 180. I'm sorry. It was 20 million off.
So $5 million more than King Arthur. I am still not sold on because King Arthur got beaten out by Snatched. I am wondering how badly Valerian will be beat.
Also, Valerian starring Dane DeHaan, who I think is just a charisma vacuum. He's
and Cara Delevingne.
yeah, her too. She's no good. Put them both in the bin. That's oh my god.
She's no good and she's real good at the same time. So King Arthur, I guess our end review of it is that no one liked it, and that people who did like it, I want to understand why. Because there are people out there who enjoyed this movie, and I've read the reviews and I don't get it.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I'm still lost. When I heard all the Collider crew like it, except for like Perry, I was like, what?
Yeah, Jeremy Johns gave it a good time, no alcohol required for some reason, where I can only imagine liking this movie extremely drunk.
Yeah. Like my scenario I painted earlier, that is the only way to watch this movie.
Exactly. So this is a movie you need to see when it comes out. That's really it. You need to go to Redbox. You need to get the Blu-ray, like spring the extra $1.50 for the Blu-ray, and rent it for the night. Put it on in the safety of your own home where you don't have to drive. Sit in front of your television. Don't even get out your good television. Like, the crappy one in your bedroom is just fine.
No. Get a portable DVD player. Get the Blu-ray so you can actually read the text that comes onto the screen. And maybe it'll actually be a good movie. Maybe that'll fill in every blank that there was.
Feel free to pause it and start it as often as you need to. Go for a bathroom break. Go for a break. Visit another state and then come back. Like, do whatever you need to do in between pauses. Like, space it out. You won't remember it any better anyway. And, maybe it'll be worth it. So, King Arthur, we're going to move on from there because that was fun, but we will be coming back to this for our movie fight later, where we will be debating whether or not Charlie Hunnam is an uncharismatic sack of shit or if he's a good actor. I'm not a biased judge at all. So, first time watch. I like this segment of the show. We are going to go through some movies that we've seen recently that we would like to recommend to our viewing audience. Starting with Ryan, what movie would you like to bring to the table today?
Okay, so some people are going to dispute whether mine is a movie or not. Because it is on Letterboxd, I'm calling it a movie. And that is the Netflix documentary 5 Came Back, which is it's a 3-part thing. It's a 3-hour chunk about 5 directors who worked for the U.S. government in World War II to go film war footage and sort of create these war documentaries to drum up support on the home front. And it's done with a bunch of modern directors going back and talking about these old directors. So you have Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola, Lawrence Kasdan, Paul Greengrass, and Guillermo del Toro got featured in this documentary, which is also narrated by Meryl Streep, talking about these 5 famous directors: William Wyler, Frank Capra, John Huston, John Ford, and why is this person's name escaping me right now? Sorry, I have the screen here. I'm just going to cheat and pretend like I remembered.
The blue glow from your screen kind of gives it away.
Sorry. Stevens. Sorry. Okay, so the 5 of them are going out into World War II battles and finding all of this amazing footage to bring back. And this documentary is incredibly powerful about these filmmakers' journeys and the work that they did and how this influenced the works they did in film later. So it's really like a film lover's dream just to capture all of this in one thing. And also Netflix did the amazing thing of including every one of the 1940s war documentaries they made and putting them all on Netflix. So I've been working my way through those as well. And those are really interesting to see, but they're kind of hard to watch because they're all original World War II footage. But anyways, 5 Came Back is amazing, and I highly recommend it to every film fan out there.
That actually sounds when you preface it with that disclaimer, I wasn't sure what we were getting ourselves into, but that actually sounds really cool. Ty, how about you?
Going into this, I thought I don't have a first time watch, but I just remembered because Ryan said the word documentary. I watched Batman and Bill this week, which was fantastic. It really highlighted how much of a dick Bob Kane was, and how he should have literally no credit for creating Batman. Bill Finger, the amount of influence that he had on the creation of Batman, Robin, the Joker, Gotham City, the Batmobile, all of that, it's incredible. And the lack of credit he got for it, the fact that he only just got credited for the first time on a movie with Batman versus Superman, which I distinctly remember noticing that when I saw it, and I thought that was really cool. And seeing this documentary, it kind of goes through the hoops that they had to go through in order to get him that proper credit. And you learn a lot about Bill Finger as a person and kind of what his struggles in life were like, his extended family. And it's just a really interesting, cool look at the behind the scenes of such a huge icon and how much just corporate bullshit goes on. And it was really good, and I really recommend watching it. It was really interesting, really enlightening, and if you like Batman, I definitely recommend giving it a watch.
I've been wanting to watch that for a while, so I should sit down and actually watch it now. So my movie I'll be talking about tonight, I was going to review this for Geeks and Gamers, but it's already the end of the weekend, and there's a lot of stuff to edit after this show, so I probably won't get around to it. But this weekend, right before seeing King Arthur, I went and saw the movie Absolutely Anything, starring Simon Pegg, the Monty Python crew, and the late, great Robin Williams. This is the last movie to be released theatrically starring Robin Williams, so I definitely wanted to go support it. Walking into this movie, I'd heard a lot of really, really bad things about it. Like, a lot of people that I usually jibe with on opinions didn't like it at all. It's very badly rated online. I went in expecting to hate it, but I wanted to bid a fond farewell to Robin Williams. This movie shocked me. It really did. There are some really bad elements of it. The CGI in it looks like it was made in 2003, not 2015. The scripting in it is sometimes absolutely god-awful, but it made me laugh ridiculously hard. I was sitting in my seat and I was howling. The poor person who was sitting in front of me 3 by 3 rows, because there was one other person in the theater in my 7 o'clock showing opening night, probably hated my guts because I was laughing my head off. If you like Simon Pegg, you'll probably like him here. He is typical Simon Pegg. Robin Williams' voice work is absolutely outstanding. It is so on point, and I loved it so much. The Monty Python crew was completely wasted, but it was very much so nice to hear them go back and forth a little bit, despite the fact that it was not great how they were used. The movie basically boils down to being a weird British version of Bruce Almighty, rated R, that definitely earns its R rating when it comes to the jokes. But it is absolutely hilarious, and if it's playing anywhere near you, just for the sake of supporting a underseen movie, and on the slim chance you might have a good time with it, you should go see Absolutely Anything. I had a blast, and I definitely would recommend it, despite it having some definite issues. So that was our first time watch segment. Now, with about 10-15 minutes left in the show, depending on how we do this, I would like to bring back a debate segment on this show, because something that I have seen going across the internet that's been a little bit divisive is how good was Charlie Hunnam in King Arthur. Some people say he was great, like he did the best he could with what he had. Some people say he was absolutely awful and should never work again. I am going to pitch to my panel, who do have differing opinions here, and have them fight this out. So, Charlie Hunnam, as an actor, as an Arthur, and as a human being, good or bad? Opening statements, just go back and forth. I can trust you guys. Let's start on a high note. Mr. Ryan McKenna.
All right. So I think Charlie Hunnam is a decent, serviceable actor who can step into these leading roles and do a fine job. I think that if you look over the course of Charlie Hunnam's career, he's had some low points. But I think if you look at all of his movies, he is relatively consistent in doing what is sort of required of him to move whatever the story is forward. You look at his work in Children of Men, you look at his work in Pacific Rim, he and even King Arthur, where I could see him being, pretty strong in that role if the film were better. And he moves it forward in a meaningful way. But I also think that 2017 is kind of his year because he gave what I think is the best performance of his career in The Lost City of Zed, in which he's going on this very David Lean style epic. And he really sold me in that movie with a lot of subtlety and emotion that I hadn't seen from him necessarily before, and really made me sort of believe in his abilities moving forward. As an Arthur, there have been a lot of Arthurs, and they've almost all been shitty. So, his serviceable role in a terrible movie is really in line with every other Arthur. And as a human being, I don't know him, but he's kind of funny. He was commenting on the rumors that he's going to be the next James Bond this week. And he's like, well, I'm British. I look dashing in a suit, but they haven't contacted me. So, he's kind of, funny. So I think that adds to his personality. So I'm pro Charlie Hunnam.
What about you, Ty?
Look, I'll agree with you on one statement, Ryan, and only part of one of your statements. He's consistent. Consistently awful. He's no good. He's a charisma vacuum. He offers no real personality. He reads the dialogue very blandly. He goes, I don't want to fight. I'm not going to fight. Grabs sword. Fighting. That's all he did in King Arthur. He was bland. He was uninteresting. Didn't add any good dynamics to him. And then Pacific Rim, it was the same thing. It was our minds are linked. We punch when we punch together. That was that whole movie. And that's his range seems very limited. I don't know if that is at the fault of all the directors he's had to work with. I hear on Sons of Anarchy he's amazing. I haven't seen that. I can't speak to it. But from what I've seen in Arthur and Pacific Rim, he is just bland as hell. People say, oh, make him the Green Arrow. No, do not make him one of my favorite comic book characters ever. I want someone who actually has personality and acting range, who can actually deliver a powerful monologue. This guy couldn't do it. I almost fell asleep whenever he would talk in King Arthur. He was so boring. Watching him wake up from a nightmare was boring. It didn't even give me the, oh man, like little jump scare kind of thing. None of that happened. He's just uninteresting. He's bland. I don't want to see him ever again. And I'm pretty sure he's a dickhead.
What about him as a human being? You didn't get to that very much at all.
He's a dickhead, and he's not going to be James Bond. Like, what dumb comments. Oh, I look good in a suit, and I'm British. Wow, so's Tom Hiddleston, but at least he can fucking act.
Well, Ryan, them's fighting words.
Those are fighting words. I think that, I think that if you're looking at Charlie Hunnam's performance in King Arthur, I think that of everything in that movie, the strongest thing was his sort of like his relationship with his like group of merry men and their like activities in the streets and stuff. And I think that the way Charlie Hunnam kind of delivered, I mean, granted, some of the quips fell flat, but like he delivered on those moments as well as he could in a crappy movie. And he just sort of like he moved the story forward. In Pacific Rim, the only actor that's better than him in that movie is Idris Elba, and Idris Elba is better than almost everyone else in every movie that he's ever been in. So that's really not that surprising. And I think that Charlie Hunnam has a lot to offer. He brings it. Like I say, Lost City of Zed was amazing, and he did a really good job in that movie. He really has that like movie star look and face. He'll make all the girls swoon, or guys if you're into that thing. And he has the package. And I think that, I think that,
if you will.
Not the package I was referring to, but sure. I don't know. Maybe he does. Can't speak to that. But he does what he needs to do, and I think that is what we look for in amongst most actors.
I think he does nothing that we look for in most actors. We look for good line delivery, good facial expressions that can communicate to the audience what he's thinking without him saying, I am sad. I feel like that's what Charlie Hunnam would do if he was directed to do it, and he would do it in the most bland way possible because he's such a bland actor. He never offers anything exciting. He never makes me go, yeah, this guy, I really hope he kicks ass in the end here. In King Arthur, I didn't believe any of his fight scenes. I thought they all looked really bad, and especially when it was actually him and not some stunt double or some CGI mess that they threw onto the screen. And getting back to his person, I really disliked his haircut. Like, I've never understood that haircut. It looks so dumb. It looks obnoxious. It's just you looking for attention. It's he's bland all around the board. Lost City of Z maybe is good in it. I haven't seen it, but from what I've seen, never liked him. No one I know has liked him except for the people who have seen him in Sons of Anarchy. But I can't speak to that because I haven't seen it. So for everything I've seen him in, he's no good, and I bet you he's a real bad human being. I bet you he takes money from poor people, homeless people. He reaches into their hat, he takes it, and he says, I'm an actor. I need it more than you because I didn't get paid enough for Pacific Rim. So, I don't know.
Or presumably for King Arthur. I don't know how he's getting paid for that movie, but
$175 million.
Let's hope he got paid up front for that.
Yeah, I'll take 10% of the gross. Oh, I got $5.
Ryan, back to you. Closing statements.
So at risk of sounding repetitious, I think that, like I say, I think that Charlie Hunnam is a perfectly serviceable actor. I think that if you want to see what he does well, look at Lost City of Zed, and I understand that you haven't seen it, but it's good and it's out there, so that's why I'm advocating for it. He does in Children of Men, just to bring up a movie that isn't Lost City of Zed. He plays a smaller part, yes, but he gives the actors in the scene that he's in the scenes that he's in, enough to play off of. And
Children of Men?
Yes.
No, which part? I'm trying to
He plays
remember.
Patrick in Children of Men.
I'll go back.
Anyway,
I'm just curious.
So he gives the actors enough to play off of in that movie, and he shows this sort of this leading man persona that I think has really developed over the years and is only going to get better. So go Charlie Hunnam, do your thing.
Okay, Ty, closing statements.
You say that he gave a lot for other actors to work off of. Why didn't he bring that to King Arthur? Why? Because he's secretly a bland, bad, horrible actor. It's not even that good of a secret because I can see right through that facade. And again, I'm going to mention that haircut. Get it out of here. It's terrible. Grow your hair out and just look like a decent human being. I hate him.
Okay, so judge's ruling here. Based on the arguments and based upon the passion, I have to split. I genuinely would have to split this down the middle because Ty, you had all that passion, but your arguments were pretty shit. And Ryan, you had solid arguments, and you kind of looked like you were pulling teeth out of your head for part of that argument. So we're just going to agree that Charlie Hunnam is kind of meh, and I don't know. Is Manning watching? Does he want to make this call for me? Because I don't know. Manning, are you out there? It'll take a little bit for the
Manning is watching. He said that he says that Charlie Hunnam wasn't half bad in Children of Men. He's a part of the. Oh yeah, he explains who he is in Children of Men.
That means the other half was bad in Children of Men. Point in case, I win. No, just kidding.
Manning rule.
Manning, we need you. So we're gonna keep going with that. So it's been a good looking forward. We do have Why did that randomly beep? Okay, so looking forward, we have a pretty decent week coming up. We have Alien Covenant coming out. We have everything coming out. So this next show should be kind of fun. Guys, how do you feel about Alien Covenant? Ryan, you saw it.
I have seen it. I liked it a fair bit. I have some problems. It's not a perfect movie. I thought it was an improvement over Prometheus.
This means I need to see Prometheus between now and then, so I need to get on that.
Yeah, actually, I want to talk about that quickly because there's a lot of people who are writing that this is a great standalone movie, and maybe it is. It's hard to say, but there is so much of Prometheus in this movie that I feel like it's sort of essential viewing.
For research purposes, should I skip Prometheus before seeing Covenant just to see if I can understand it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because there's some stuff
get out of seeing Prometheus.
Prometheus isn't bad. It's not bad. But
quite good.
But it's, so yeah, I liked Covenant. I think that, like I say, there are things that they could improve, but it's hard to talk about the things they could improve without really spoiling the movie. So.
Well, hopefully people actually see Covenant so we can spoil a little bit next week. Ty, are you excited for Alien Covenant?
Yeah, I am. I'm one of the few people who actually really, really dug Prometheus. I thought it was a really great space exploration film. I liked all the elements of it. I went into it knowing it's not going to really be an Alien proper film, and I was okay with that, and I really enjoyed the majority of the choices they made. There was one or two that I really didn't care for. I thought most of the lead characters were charismatic. I loved Michael Fassbender, and I can't wait to see him in Covenant. And everything that I've seen of Covenant, the prelude thing, where he says the Ozymandias poem, and then there's the prelude learning about the crew. I liked all of that. And the scene of the alien smashing its head against the glass window, it fills me with excitement every time I'm seeing it, Friday or Saturday, depending on.
Does it live up to how badass the trailer is, Ryan?
Yeah. If you can avoid the trailers, do. But if you haven't avoided the trailers, I think that it definitely delivers. This, unlike Prometheus, delivers on the alien horror action of the franchise.
Cool. So I will not be sleeping Thursday night. Awesome. All right. So it has been decided by Manning Frank. Mr. Ryan McKenna did win that round. Ty, you entertained me, but Ryan did definitely bring better arguments. So that is it for the council. We are finishing actually right on time tonight, so that's always fun. So, Mr. Ryan McKenna, on my far left, please tell people where they can find you and what you do and all that good stuff.
Hey guys, you can find me writing and editing on geeksandgamers.com or Merc with a Movie blog, and you can find me just trolling around the Movie Talk by Movie Fans Collider Council Facebook group.
Ryan McKenna did set a record for the most viewed article on the site for the 5 people watching right now. That's a really big deal, and I'm really excited. Mr. Ty Rothermal.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nerdy Casual. You can find me writing articles on geeksgamers.com, and you can find me on Alberta highways doing traffic control this week. So,
Ty is the record holder for the second most viewed article on Geeks and Gamers. So we have the Hall of Fame right here. So they're going to be fighting it out for the rest of the summer for domination because exactly. Next article is going to be the winner. So I am Jonathan Youngblood. You'll find me over at Geeks and Gamers too, where I'm editor-in-chief. This has basically been the Geeks and Gamers show. This is the council. Thank you for tuning in to this week. We will be here next week talking about Alien Covenant and everything, and whatever else we want to talk about. And probably arguing about some cool stuff again there. Maybe we'll disagree again. So thank you for tuning in. It's been fun. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.